Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Why Wait. I'm Chris, and today we are talking about everything that has broken in this RV over 5 years of full-time living inside of it. Now listen, some of these are major things, major issues that broke that we had to replace. Some of them are real small, everyday wear and tear. Some of these things are kind of to blame on the RV manufacturer. Some of these are just things that would normally break in a house as well. So it's a little bit balance of everything. We were gonna fly through this video extremely quick. We're not gonna go over how to fix most of these things because we have tons of videos on how to do that. So if you're interested in knowing more about some of these issues, how to fix them, how to replace them, how to take care of them, we'll have links to those videos in the video description down below, where you can go check out those videos to learn more about some of these issues. Today, we just wanna tear through it and just talk about all the little things that we've had to fix, replace, and take care of while living in this RV. We've actually owned it for just about 6 years now, and we've been living in it for about 5.5 years, just to kind of give you a reference on all the things that have gone wrong over time. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into it, and let's plow through these. Now let's go ahead and start off with some of the major things that have happened, and let's talk about leaf springs, because I'm sure some of you guys out there have had issues with leaf springs. We've had leaf springs break twice. Our leaf springs have been extremely flat since day one. It's always been an issue. We weigh the RV. Many of you know this. We have videos on this, how to do the process. Just no matter what we did, we always broke leaf springs on the left side of this RV. It's extremely heavy on that side. Now I do always carry a spare leaf spring. That way if this happens, and it has, I've always had the backup leaf spring on hand. That's gonna save you time. It's gonna save you some money and get you back on the road faster. Just a quick tip there. As well as breaking leaf springs, we also broke an axle one time. The spindle on the axle broke. We don't know how this happened. We did hit a major bump coming onto an on-ramp, getting on the interstate right before we had this issue. I will say we have beefed up the system down there. We now have 8K axles to make everything a little bit stronger, a little bit more cargo capacity. We also have the 8K Roadmaster slipper springs, which we absolutely love. Smoother ride, again, beefier system. No issues with those. They're always smiling. No more flat Chinese crappy leaf springs. And again, go check out the video on that whole installation process and our review of those. And another major issue that happened was our awning broke. No, we didn't leave it out during a windy day. This actually happened going down the road, which was pretty crazy. We hadn't even been using the awning for the past 5 days of our travels. It was the last day of traveling. We're going over a big bridge. All of a sudden, the awning just decides to come out. The wind grabbed it. It completely ripped it out of the side of the RV, flipped it up on top of the camper. This is one of the few times I've actually had to call an RV tech to come out to replace this, because it took about, I think they had 4 or 5 guys out there trying to replace this whole thing. It was a pretty major job. So we're not too sure what happened on that one, but that was definitely a major issue. Next up, some smaller issues. We've had to change out one propane regulator. They only last maybe about 4 or 5 years before you guys probably have to change out these regulators. We actually started hearing a little whistling noise and started smelling propane. That's how we knew it was time to change out this regulator. Jumping up on the roof, we've had to replace our shower skylight, and that was actually because when the awning flipped up on top of the camper, when it broke going down the road, it broke the skylight. Quick, easy repair. Just had to remove the self-leveling lap sealant and install the new one. As well as up here, we once had a tiny little hole in the roof. I'm not too sure if it got snagged on a tree branch or what. Eternabond tape was a quick and easy fix for that. And as you can see, since then I've actually did a modification where I've redone my whole roof in Eternabond tape, so I don't ever have to worry about replacing the self-leveling lap sealant. We also had one of the motors on our Max Air fans crap out. We had the one in the bathroom eventually broke down. This was a quick, easy fix. You just have to change out the motor, rewire it, and we've been good to go on that. Now down below, underneath the camper, we've had a few issues. Once we had a gray tank clog. I think over time, just grease and oils build up in there, and the pipe just eventually got a little clogged up to where the sink was backing up. I had to drop the underbelly and open up where the gate valve was at, open that up. That's right where the issue was at. A lot of gunk in there, just kind of cleaned it out, got it all nice and clean. And since then, we've had no issues with that. On the other side of the underbelly, eventually our underbelly was sagging just over time. And I went ahead and replaced the whole piece of coroplast. Great video on how to do that, where to get that, and how to knock that job out. While I was under there, we actually, previous time, we did have a gray tank leak on the bedroom gray tank, the bathroom gray tank, I'm sorry. And we knew we had a leak. It was starting to bow under there, so I had to drop that. replace all the insulation, and while I was under there, I cleaned up all the messy wiring and all things like that. And we had to fix that gray tank. And again, that's actually when we went ahead and replaced all of the chloroplast underneath the RV. Water pump issues. I'm sure many of you guys have had issues with your water pump. We had the problem where the water pump wasn't working. Turned out that it's a little check valve, pressure valve inside that. Great video, couple 100,000 views on that. People have had this issue all the time. It's usually caused from not using your water pump and having kind of like a calcium buildup and kind of seizing that valve up. Or it can also be caused because you don't exercise your water pump. The city water constantly basically pushes on that using the water pump as a check valve. It seizes that up. Want to learn how to fix that? Go check out that video. And by the way, guys, that's actually a tip that I learned from Todd Henson over at the NRVTA, National RV Training Academy, about using your water pump on a regular basis. Don't just forget about it. Just don't always use the city water connection, because eventually that pump's going to dry up. You need to exercise these things. You need to use it. If you guys are interested in learning more about your RV and fixing all these problems that we're going to run into, if you own an RV, we're going to have issues, okay, guys? It's just part of owning an RV. And learning about your systems, understanding how they work, understanding the difference between 12 volt and 120 volt, what's running what inside the camper, all your water systems, your water heater, your furnace, your ACs. If you guys want to know about all of these, how to troubleshoot them and how to fix them, go check out this rvtechcourse.com. Listen, I just took this course recently and I learned so much information. If I could have taken this course 5 years ago before I started this, my gosh, I would have known so much more. I like to troubleshoot things. I like to fix them myself. I don't want to pay money for someone to do it. I don't want to call an RV tech out. I can't afford to have my camper inside a shop for 3 to 4 weeks because I live in it. So if that's you and you want to just learn more about the fundamentals, I highly recommend taking the rvtechcourse.com. They have two versions, the fundamentals one and the pro version. They are both excellent. If you're new with this, or even if you're not like I wasn't, please, I can't strongly recommend enough taking this course. You're going to learn so much information, especially if you can't get down to Texas and take the actual course in person. You can take this course online at your own pace and you're going to learn so much stuff. And right now, during the month of August, depending on when you're watching this, you can get 40% off with the code YWAIT. We'll have a link below down in the video description. And if you're watching this and it's not August, still, please go click that link and check them out, because I'm telling you right now, they're usually running lots of deals. And again, I can't recommend this course enough. Now, let's get back to some more broken stuff. In the bathroom, we had a leak. Wasn't too sure where it was coming from. It was leaking in the basement. Traced the leak up to the black flush vacuum breaker, the little check valve that runs up in behind our cabinet here. And it turns out that just went bad, so we had to kind of pop that off there, buy a new one, buy a better one, replace that. It was a very hard job because it was actually hard to access and get to this, but that solved that problem. If you have a washer or dryer in your RV, we've actually had to pull the dryer out of the closet twice. I've had to fix it twice, whether it's just been a thermostat or a circuit or whatever it may be. Usually pretty easy fixes with these things, but I'm glad I was able to knock that out and get our dryer back up and running. We love having the washer and the dryer in the RV, so keeping those things working is a must for the wife. Favorite upgrade that we've ever done. Let's talk Schwintek slides. If you have a Schwintek slide, you're gonna run into an issue with it at some point. We had one of the motors in ours crap out. I have a whole video on that. Very, very difficult process depending on how easy it is to access it in the wall. Sometimes you have more room to get to these things. We did not. So it's a very difficult thing. I do recommend, actually, if you have a Schwintek slide or numerous Schwintek slides, carry a backup motor, because that's going to save you. You can do the job, you can do the project, you're gonna save a lot of money, but if you already have the motor in hand, you go to put the slide out in, it's not going in, you need to hit the road. If you have that motor, you can knock it out and save yourself a day or two ordering the part and just get back to your travels. So Schwintek slides, pain in the butt, but you know, you can fix them, you can work on them. Tail light on the back of the RV, simple fix, you know, just had to replace the bulb, but you think sometimes it's just a bulb, sometimes you actually need to replace the whole thing. It's an LED light, so you gotta buy the whole tail light, you gotta rewire it in there, not too difficult, and again, video on that one if you wanna go check that out. RV furniture, and what do I mean by that? Well, eventually the RV furniture, not only did the little heaters and the massage thing crap out on this Thomas Paine furniture, eventually it started peeling from the process of hydrolysis, and we went to Rec Pro and we just got some nice new more like residential style furniture, and we've been pretty happy with that ever since we replaced the RV furniture that just after about 3 years went bad on us. Let's talk water heaters. Have a few issues with this one. We eventually had the check valve in the back of the water heater crap out, the little plastic piece inside broke. I've also heard that a lot of these plastic check valves actually break just going down the road. They crack off, then you're stuck with half of that inside the water heater tank. You can't get it out. So if you can, be proactive and replace with one of these brass valves right here. Again, video on that. What else with the water heater? We've had the water heater basically overheat to where we've had to basically just go outside. A simple fix. I don't know if you know, but you have reset buttons out there and you can reset that to get it working again. Now, if it keeps happening, obviously you have to troubleshoot it. You have an issue. And we've also had the pressure relief valve on the water heater break, and we just basically switched out for a new one. Okay, how about some of the smaller little trim, cabinet baseboards, things like that? Quite a bit of that crap. Obviously, we've had some trim fall down here and there. You know, honestly, not too much. You know, I had some baseboards we kind of had to like staple back in. We had one drawer in the kitchen, which was our fault. We broke it with the slide out. It came out while we were moving. We kind of crushed it. I was able to pull that drawer out, put it back together, and fix it. We've actually had the cabinets above me. The bottom started bowing out. It was just, you know, too much weight up there. That was fixed. We had same problem with the cabinets underneath the coffee bar. The bottom where everything was sitting on eventually bowed down. Reinforced that, fixed that. Inside the pantry, the little tabs that you can adjust for the shelves to sit on, quite a few of those have just kind of snapped and broken over time. We've had to basically just readjust our shelves and move them around to where they're still good tabs. So it's pretty common for a lot of little things like that that's going to go wrong, especially over time living in these things and going down the road, that, you know, just some of the cheap wood, cheaper construction and the movement, you know, you're going to have to fix some of that crap. And just in general, speaking of things that break, we use the Anderson jack blocks. We've actually had ours cracked twice. That's after using them for 5 years, so that's really not too bad. 18,000 pounds constantly sitting on these things living. And it's usually happened only when we've been on gravel. The great thing is that they are lifetime guarantee warranty. You can get them replaced. But since then, we've been using the RV SNAPPAD base. You guys have probably heard of the RV SNAPPAD. Well, this is the RV SNAPPAD base made to use with these Anderson jack blocks or any other jack blocks. And it creates a more sturdy footprint for these to sit on, and it's not going to now sink into the grass, sink into sand, and it's not going to crack when it's on gravel anymore, as well as make more of a sturdy footprint more on a concrete pad. SNAPPAD has awesome, great products. We've been using them for a long time. They have some pretty neat things out for travel trailers now as well. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. And you can actually use our coupon code YWAIT and get 10% off any RV SNAPPAD product. And we want to thank them for being one of the sponsors of this video. Microwave. We've actually had to pull our microwave down, and I've had to replace a few things inside of it. Again, video if you want to go check that out as well. Don't want to get into that too much, but a way to kind of troubleshoot if you're having issues with your microwave working and don't want to just go out and buy a new one right away. Fuses. You're going to have fuses break, blow over time. We have our water pump fuse. We've had a fuse actually for the awning lights with ours. Sometimes these can be tricky to find. Ours was behind the control panel. So over time, carry spare fuses. We like to carry this kit right here. 10, 20, 30, 50 amp fuses, anything you may need to replace around the RV. Lots of hidden fuses, so I definitely recommend carrying a fuse kit with you. That way you can just simply pop a new one in when these things tend to blow. Outside on the RV, some of the slide out D-seals over time. The D-seals have just started to deteriorate from the sun over time. Some of them actually have started sliding off. So we have a video on how to replace those. Those are known to go bad over time. I actually have a video coming out soon where I replace all the slide out seals on my RV with a new system with high quality automotive grade rubber. So keep an eye out for that one. The outside speakers that come with the RV, which we never honestly ever used. Well, I just found out the other day that they've gone bad. They've probably just blown, but it's not something that we ever used anyways. But sure enough, those outside speakers, well, they don't work anymore. We even had the mirror on our bunk room door. This used to be one big mirror right here. It eventually kind of cracked, so we just totally took out the whole thing. I bought some wood, I put a big piece of wood in, stained it, and we just switched that out. We weren't too crazy about the mirror anyways. Air conditions, the AC in the living room stopped working. It was only blowing fan, no more cold air. checked it out. It turned out it was just basically the control package, a control board that sits up in here. I think for about $60, $70 on Amazon. I was actually able to find another one and replace the whole thing. I probably could have even went cheaper. It's probably just one of the relay switches in there that needed to be changed out. But a pretty simple fix to get the AC back up and running. And the AC in the bedroom was starting to leak. We weren't too sure why. It turns out I actually just needed to tighten the 4 bolts that go up in there that suck it back down to the ceiling. I don't know if you guys have ever been up in there. It's kind of just like almost like a sponge membrane that just kind of basically pulls down and tightens those ACs down to the roof. And I think over time those bolts had just loosened up going down the road. So every once in a while, check those, tighten those up. I think that about wraps it up. I've probably missed a thing or two. I'm trying to recall, sitting here, everything we've done over time. I might even miss something major. I'll try to go back to my old videos and find out what has broken. But as we all know, living in these things, you got to do some stuff yourself. You don't want to call somebody every time something goes wrong, and you can fix it yourself. Again, go check out that rvtechcourse.com if you do want to learn more about these systems so that you can repair things and troubleshoot electrical problems and things like that. It's really going to help out if you live this lifestyle. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. Get out there, start your full-time adventure. Don't let all these broken items deter you or like scare you away. It's still a great life, and we will see you guys next time.